Hi and hello to this new video. Today I will speak about a new paper that is coming out. You may have heard about that already. It is going around. There are so many questions out there. I have heard first from my members in my membership Animal Art Club of that new paper. And of course I have to order it and I tried to order it and it was hard to get one because they are hardly available out there at the moment. But I could grab here a black pad of the new paper CANSON Mi-Teintes VELVET. So you may or may not have heard about it, but it is really very interesting, and it is an alternative to the Pastelmat from Clairefontaine, a new high quality pastel paper, and there are different colors available: brown tones, blue tones, grays, but they were all out of stock or not available at the moment. So but I could get black, and what's amazing, this is a deep dark black. I never have seen a paper for the pastels that is really deep dark black. And if you would like to draw an animal on black background, you can use that without putting pastel pigment around the animal, if that works. So I have to test it, and I'm so curious to work on it more. I have already tested it a little bit and have drawn a beautiful, brilliant, colorful dog eye with many details around the fur, in the fur, and also I have also drawn a white clump. Today I show you how I have tested this black paper from CANSON, the Mi-Teintes VELVET, drawing this eye, so you can be curious how it worked. I must say I'm very happy with the result. It looks amazing, it looks realistic and lifelike. It is exactly the result I would like to achieve, so very happy with that paper. How my feelings were during the drawing process, you see now. Let's dive in. So maybe the black is not optimal for all animals. Maybe the black is shining through a bit. I assume that because of the very dark, deep black color. But I like also portraits, so tone in tone. And I will try to draw this little eye here. I have drawn it on gray Pastelmat paper. I try to draw it now here on the black and test that out, how so a gray, green eye is working. And then later on I will also draw different other colors on the black surface, white or also so brown. Let's try it out and play a bit. Let's have fun and see if that paper is an alternative to the Pastelmat. Okay, so I draw in that case the outlines with a lighter pencil, not with the black as usually, because I work here on the black paper, on the black Mi-Teintes VELVET. So first drawing the outlines here with a lighter pencil is working fine. So I have the same feeling like I would do it on the Pastelmat paper. So that's a good feeling, I would say. So I just draw in here the outlines a bit, and then let's take the white and let's sketch in here a bit of the highlights in the sky, the reflections we have here in the eye. And then I take the black. Let's try the black pastel pencil from Pitt Faber-Castell. Oh yes, you don't see the black really well, of course, because that paper is also so deep dark black. I see it a little bit. It's nearly the same, so really a nice, great black paper. Maybe let's test the charcoal from Faber-Castell, if that, because that is also a very dark, deep black pencil. it is showing up a bit here, so that's good. We have a little bit of contrast, but it is a very nice deep black paper. Also, I have here my daylight lamp on to have a good light. If that would be switched off, it would even appear darker, the black paper, but that you see the colors here in the video better. I switch it on. Okay, then bring in here and the black around, so that's a good feeling for the first layer. So I bring in here the black in the middle of the eye, and then let's also plot in a bit of yellow. I use here so a cream yellow and plot that in here for the first layer. So the feeling of applying the pigment, the Pastelmat pigment, is good to me. So it's nearly similar to the Pastelmat. You see here also a bit of the paper shining through. That's also the case when I work with that amount of pressure on the Pastelmat paper. So the black is here shining through a bit. And then I take a paper stamp and blend over it, as I do always. Blend over the first base layer and push the pigment a little bit into the paper. So I am curious if that paper, CANSON Mi-Teintes VELVET, also allows as many layers as Pastelmat does. That's then when we come to the details and when we draw fine fur. The black is shining through a bit, but that is normal. That is also happening with the anthracite Pastelmat paper. Of course, if you draw with light colors over a dark paper, that happens. In that case, I add another layer with the yellow, so that it is a bit more opaque and not so transparent, and try to plot in a bit more pigment. That's a good feeling here so far. And then let's also use a blue a bit and bring that in the highlights section. So let's have a look how that is working. So for the first base layer, it feels for me very similar, but let's see if the magic is happen also then later when we bring in more layers. Let's plot in here a brilliant white highlight dots. That's also working. They are brilliant white. Let's then add different layers. I bring in a bit of dark green here below in the lower part of that dog's eye, and swipe over in little circles as I always do. And plot in also a bit of another layer of green here above with little pressure. And then also bring in a bit of orange brown, maybe here. Another layer. I want to test if the pigment stays on the paper with many layers and don't mix together or start smearing and smudging. So, and that you also can create a nice blurry surface so that you can use the pencils for mixing colors and so on. Let's test that out. Let's also bring in a little bit of so I go over here, over the left edge a bit with the black, correct the outlines a bit, or swipe over the shadow area here a bit to darken it down. And add a little bit of dark blue with little pressure to create here fine details. Swipe over, try if that a technique that underneath layers are shining through also works. Add here so little strokes downwards. And then also let's go over with a lighter color with ivory and add here, brighten up that part a bit. And that's the amazing thing when I'm working on Pastelmat, that I use lighter colors to go over the darker colors. Here on the yellow it is working, so that's a good thing to bring in some lighter details over the darker areas. Let's then also use the white for brightening up here the highlight with little pressure. Plot in here a little bit of white above. That's also working, and blend it a little bit with the paper stamp. Then I go also in with the earth green a little bit and color this eye part here a little bit more greenish. Just bring in different layers here. Go over here, swipe over in little circles. I'll take the dark green again. I'm working with the Pitt pastel pencils here. Darkening down here the parts, so that's working well to swipe over and add so teeny tiny little dots or strokes here. Let's also use again the orange brown, a burnt ochre once more to add here a bit of burnt ochre color. So also I would like to test if it allows many layers here, and that you can bring in many different colors and layers. Darken down here that part in the eye, and also I go over the shadow parts, the upper eye lashes area a bit with black again and darken that down. Let's take the blue once more, the dark indigo, and add so teeny tiny little dots. That is also working here. Maybe a bit blue in the highlight area here. Let's take a paper stamp and swipe a little bit over the edges. Let's try how blending works. So that is also fine. Blend here the black a little bit upwards into the highlight, or I make this white a little bit more bluish. Maybe let's go over here with the blue a bit. Okay, so that's not a bad feeling. Let's plot in a little bit of flesh color here and caput mortuum here in the inner eye corner. The colors are showing up really nicely here on the black, I must say. So a nice black surface to work on. Let's bring in a bit gray for the fur as an underpainting around the eye. So I plot in a bit of a middle gray with a middle amount of pressure. And that's also not a bad feeling, I must say. So I'm really curious about the paper, how it works in a full animal portrait. So here the feeling is a little bit more smeary, I would say. I'm not sure. The paper is really smooth, but it also is not saturated right away. So it is a bit rougher than a Pastelmat, but very, very smooth surface without any damages or so on. And when I plot in the first base layer, it scratches a little bit. And also the paper is shining through a bit, so that means that the paper is not saturated with the first layer. That's a good sign. So that you maybe have to add another layer to cover the paper really well with the pastel pigment. So let's then take the paper stamp and blend over the gray, as I do it usually. I find it here, it is easier to blend, so not sure what that means then later on when we have more layers or draw a larger portrait. But so here I can blend it really well. When I swipe over, it creates a smooth, nice blended surface that's not gritty. So it looks nice so far. And then let's bring in some black little lines here, very gently. I let the lines overlap and cross. So here, let them overlap and cross. So the first layer, with the amount of pressure I'm normally using, feels good. Let's have a look how later on, and then when we build up more layers to bring in depth into the fur, how that is working. I let the lines cross here, let them overlap. Also here below, try to bring in a layer of darks. Here we have then also to darken down the lower part of the eyelid a bit and add then a light reflection line. So I let these hairs cross and overlap, as I always do. Bring in here a bit darker black. Okay, then let's go in a bit with white. Let's add a layer with some white lines. White is showing up brilliantly, so that's a good sign. The white lines are near, I would say it would have been better to use a light gray. They are very, very brilliantly. So that's a good sign that you're able to draw with white over an underpainting that you have already created. So here I let the, wow, that's a good feeling. So it's here the third layer, I would say. So that's nice. So white is showing up here really nicely. Let's draw some more layers. You know, I like to draw many, many layers in the fur. Let's test here in the little piece of fur here around the dog's eye how this is working. So how many layers we can add. I also like always to blend over the layers I have drawn a bit and make them softer, because sometimes on the Pastelmat paper lines are a little bit gritty. On that Mi-Teintes Velvet here it's also a bit gritty, but I have the feeling not so much. It is a bit softer, the surface, when I blend so over with little pressure. And the lines stay. Let's see how long that is working. I have the feeling I have to be very, very careful with that I don't remove the lines. So let's test out some more layers. I add again a bit more black between the lighter lines and let them cross a bit. Let's draw also here some lines out of the eyelid. Let's move the pencil a bit faster and add some very short little black strokes here between with another layer, so that is working. I also draw some little black lines out of the lower eyelid. So here, teeny tiny little lines. Maybe let's add here a bit of a layer of, oh yes, cardboard mortum. That is very opaque, so that is also working to go over here with another color. Nice feeling. Then let's take, I also like to swipe over with a pastel pencil and color the layers I have already drawn a bit with another color. It makes them a little bit softer and adds another touch. And I would like to try if they don't disappear. So the lines become a little bit more transparent, I would say, but they stay. So also this layering technique here with going over with a lighter color. Yeah, it's working. Let's take the white again, a sharp white, and let's do another white layer with very teeny tiny little lines. Here again, very short little strokes. So white is showing up again beautifully. Let's add some fine longer lines here. Yes, it's really, really not bad. So I really, really like that paper, I think. So what I see here with the first test, it allows layers to build up the fur, even here the black surface, the black paper. That's nice. You can draw with beautiful colors here on the black, and you can also make it here brighter and brighter. Add some white hairs and brighten the fur up by doing more and more layers. So I think CANSON has here made a really, really huge step to be to offer another paper additional to Clairefontaine's Pastelmat. I think Clairefontaine has to think about that now really, really more to fix their problems and to resolve here these quality issues, because I think people will buy this CANSON Mi-Teintes when it's then available really, really quickly. So I'm so curious about the brown tones, but I love already this black, because I always got questions from Animal Art Club members, what paper can they use if they would like to draw on a very deep, dark black, and now it looks like this is the right paper for that. Here bringing so little eyelashes in. Let's add another layer with white. I really try to build up here now a very dense fur, and it works to go over with light colors over the darks. I really invest now a bit of time into that to test this nice paper and to test if it allows a lot of layers, how it reacts when I go over, want to make them a bit more blurry, or let's create here a bit more blurry transition. Yes, that is working fine. When I swipe here over with little pressure, if the lines stay, yes, they stay. Oh, that's nice. A nice feeling, I must say. So it is not smearing and smudging together. That's so a good sign. That's really cool. And it is not rough. It is very, very nice to draw. The lines are not becoming rough. Exactly what I want in my portraits. Let's go over with a fine white and add some light reflections below the eye. So I take the sharp white pencil and add a very fine thin light reflection line here below. Oh, cool. Oh yes, it is working really well. You can draw fine lines here. Not really gritty. Press a little bit more to add here nice brilliant details. Also here they are showing up really nicely. Yes, it looks like a wonderful alternative really to the Pastelmat, this Mi-Teintes Velvet. Let's add here below a little bit black. So I must say I do nothing differently to the Pastelmat, and yeah, it's working. It's working for these fine details. I really like it. And colors are showing up. Let's add here some darks. Maybe darken down here a bit. This black part here. And add a little bit more white here above with a little pressure, and use the pencil also for blending. Yes, so I must say I'm very, very happy with that result. It is working really well, and in my opinion I will test it a bit more, but I think this will become a great alternative. Okay, so if you have questions to that new paper Mi-Teintes Velvet, please pop them below in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Next video will be about testing the same black pastel paper with drawing white, brilliant white fur on the deep dark black surface. And you see already that the colors are showing up brilliantly, and in the next video I show you exactly how I have done that and what was my experience. And yes, it is an alternative to the Pastelmat paper. You can be curious about that new paper. I must say I'm very happy after the test. I only tested these two little versions. I will test for sure full portraits too, and other colors, and I'm hoping to get the brown colors also soon as they are available. And what's also a nice thing, this paper stays flat. The Pastelmat sometimes is so curling upwards when it is placed on the table, but this one really stays so beautifully flat. So it is nice paper, very so also velvety, not too rough, a very smooth and a beautiful surface. So I only have the black, but already with the black I'm very happy, and I definitely will use it more in my animal portraits, and I will also create lessons for my members in my drawing school Animal Art Club. So you can be curious for more content also about this new paper here on my channel, because I love it already and it is working for my technique with the many layers and realistic and fine details. So be curious, and I hope I see you in the next video. Bye bye!